Alright guys, so earlier I recorded a video that I'm gonna kind of augment a little bit. Just talking about the property that we bought for our homestead and how things have turned out with it so far, and things that I wish that I could maybe tweak or change, or that I would do a little bit differently if I were purchasing property again. But I wanted to point out some of the great things that we have here first. We bought this property, we have this metal building here that has been a huge asset. We have, you can't see, well, we have the tree house here for the kids to play in. Even though there's not infrastructure for animals and things like that, it still helps us giving the kids something to do. We have a wood shed down there that you may have seen in another video, but can't really see it from where I'm sitting. We have like an acre of yard space, which is great. I mean, grows really lush green grass and it grows super fast. We have a creek that runs through the property. We have a small spring that isn't really, and like there's water there year round, but it's not like flowing year round. Like it's more like, hey, there's like a little puddle here, right, year round, but it doesn't really flow to the rest of the creek year round. So we have like a little bit of a swampy area down here on the corner that there's like more fungus and other sorts of plant life growing down there. So all of those things have been really great. There's like a lot of diversity right in the land and how it exists today. But there are a few things, and I might throw up some clips here while I'm talking, that I wish that we had considered and maybe thought about a little bit more. So even though we do have this 1 acre of open space, or I guess partially yard, partially gravel, so it's not entirely green, but one thing that I would probably do differently is we would find a place that had more grazable land, or immediately grazable land, that we didn't have to go do work to create. I would probably, on 10.5 acres, it's one acre that's really sort of grazable, I would probably try to make that like 4 to 6 acres out of that 10 at minimum, if I were to do it again. Just because now I'm running through and trying to create that in the woods, and I'm enjoying doing it, but I could be putting work into other things if I found something for the same price in the same area, right, that was just a little closer to what I wanted. Or if I'd known that, then. Another thing is really surveying the property better, or maybe even involving someone else that is more experienced, maybe some sort of permaculture person or something of that nature. One thing that we overlooked, because when we looked at the property, it was super green, there were briars and stuff everywhere, everything was super grown up, is this was actually a farm dump at one point, and so there's a lot of tires. There's a spot like right over here with tires, there's another one on this over here on this other hill with tires, and there's like some areas where there's glass and stuff buried, down closer to the corner, and maybe another tire or two down there. There's just a lot of trash sort of strewn about that we weren't aware of because we didn't walk as much of the property as we should have. We stayed on the paths that existed, but we didn't investigate probably as much as we should have to understand the scope of what we might need to do with the property, like dig up and excavate some of these dump areas and then cover them up with new soil. So I would say another thing we would do differently is do a better job surveying and figuring out, what's what across the entire property, and not skipping out on, any areas or patches. Next is, and this goes back to maybe the permaculture thing, or finding somebody that can do this, or even testing it more ourselves, or just knowing. Part of it is we didn't really know what we wanted exactly because we weren't doing these things yet, and as we do them, we're discovering more and more of what we want. But a lot of the ground here, it's on a pretty steep slope going down to the creek, and then it sort of flattens out down there, which, I mean, it's not terrible, it's traversable. But if we end up with animals down there, we're gonna have to traverse that on a regular basis. And the other thing is the soil the ground is really rocky. Like there's rocks everywhere, and there's, I mean, anywhere you go there's going to be some rocks, but I mean it is a lot of rocks, super rocky, and it's going to take us time to do a mixture of running the pigs through here and cutting down the trees and, you know, getting rocks moved around out of the way to make this be what we really want it to, especially without having heavy equipment. So that's another thing, is just, you know, understanding the soil and what we want to do with the soil, which now is growing grass so that ruminants can eat, and knowing that, you know, the rock is gonna not prevent us from doing that, but it's gonna put some roadblocks in the way where we're gonna have to spend some extra time preparing in that sense. Trying to think if I don't think that there's anything else huge. I mean, honestly, the biggest thing is having more of that grazing area. I mean, it's gonna take at least, we've been here for almost 2 years, it's gonna take me at least another year or maybe 2 to really get it to where I think I want it to be. And even then, I'm not getting rid of all of these trees because our land is in a forestry program and I can't get rid of all of them unless I want to be paying residential tax on the property, which at some point I might decide is worth it, but for now I can thin things out and grow some grasses and stuff back here and make it not quite what silvopasture should be, but somewhere in between. So anyway, hopefully that helps anybody that might be considering looking for property or maybe getting into homesteading and you don't know exactly what you're looking for. We didn't know either, and even now I don't know everything. I'm kind of, you know, still learning this as I go, but those are things that we have discovered as time has gone on with getting the pigs and the chickens, and we've had ducks and dogs and cats and all of this stuff, and figuring out how these systems can work together. It would be a lot easier to put some of these systems in place if we had more of that kind of land, and if we looked out for some of these things in the beginning. But I'm super grateful for what we have. The land that we have is amazing in so many ways, and I'm excited to see what we can turn it into. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this and got something out of it, and I will catch you all next time.